Dude, it just did it again. We are live.
I think my boy's disconnected. Hopefully I'm not live because I'm just sitting here. If I am, shouts out to you, Mike D. I see you day drinking. That's right. Those pathetic dudes that got to work on a Thursday. Getting ready for Thursday night coming up here. Thursday night football, big matchup. And I'm only talking because I'm not sure if this is live or not. So I'm just trying to look out for my boys. Rob and Ty. They up here pulling the fast one. It's Halloween, not trick or treat. Oh, no, not April Fools. You got me up here solo. All right, I'm going to assume that even though it says live up there, that I have company. These dudes ain't leaving me hanging. Just in case, I'll text them. But, of course, we got tonight's game. They're in Denver. You got KC at Denver. Big game there. Wonder if they're going to that game. Be a good game to go to. Hopefully it's close. I know last year Denver played them close. Let me text these dudes, see what's going on here.
What's up?
We apologize.
New view. Look at that, a new view.
Yeah, had to be done. Had to be done.
Had to be done.
I had a question. I wasn't streaming while you guys were out, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
no. He's like, well, I made some picks. Didn't work out well.
No, I was just kind of talking out because I was looking at the live thing going. I'm like, I know damn well they ain't got me up here solo. It's Halloween, trick or treat. This ain't April Fools. And so I just started talking a little bit just in case. And I was like, nah. So I was about to text you guys.
Yeah, no, and that's all right. That's what I tried to do. He was getting the computer going. He's like, dude, just shut it down. Just shut it down.
So I was like, I'm just gonna rotate laptops. Luckily, I have like 3 of these things.
Okay. Well, thank goodness I wasn't up here rubbing my nipples and stuff.
Right. Hey, Raj, we could use the views, bro. Whatever.
Yeah, I was giving a shout out to Mike D there, day drinking and whatnot. And I'm just reading this to myself. I'm sure I'm not live.
He's like, damn, that's a good idea. Like,
hey, we're already getting to it. Definitely needed after the technical difficulties.
All right.
Just one more moment here. I'm getting this set up.
What's up? BKB's in here as well. He's just waiting for the Seattle pick. He's like, all of you had better pick Seattle or I'm leaving.
Yeah, he's only here for Seattle Seahawks.
I'll tell you right now, you got a rough game this week. You got a rough game.
That's one of the ones I look at because we picked up spreads on them, and even straight up, that's a difficult game. But that's a tease. That's what we call that in the business, a tease. We'll get to that later.
Yep, that's the game I just looked at and was like, man, I don't know which way I want to go with this quite yet.
Yeah.
All righty. So give me just like 2 more seconds here, and then we're ready to rock.
Cool.
It's the mute button. That's all it is, Robbie. Hit the mute button.
Right? Gets me every time.
At least you have yet to do like a full stream and then realize like they can't hear me.
No, that hasn't happened. Well, what has happened is the echo from the feedback has came in, and oh my gosh, like right in the middle of it. All righty. And we should be ready to go.
Cool.
YouTube's used to it.
We'll warm it up again.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All righty. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you grab the URL?
Oh my gosh, you're right. The URL.
He's the technical guy.
I know.
Y'all need an intern or something, man.
That's a good idea.
Hey.
That's a good idea. Accepting applications, guys.
Yep, accepting apps. Move to Colorado Springs. You can live in Ty Boogie's basement.
Whoa. I didn't offer any of that, so
I don't know, man. Ty looked like he got like a bunch of gallons of apple juice down there and some leather and playing Depeche Mode.
You know what? It's my man cave. It's my man cave. Let me do what I got to do down there.
Hey, that's right. It's your business, man. Do what you do.
I got to sit down there and I got to just embrace what picks I'm gonna make for the week while I'm chugging some apple juice.
Oh
yeah.
my!
That's the move.
All righty. So now we should be all set and good to go. See? All righty. You ready to do a show?
I've been ready. Let's get it.
Raj, you ready to do a show?
I'm cool, man. I can just sit there and talk to the screen, like talk to myself, solo.
Oh my gosh.
I would love to go back after just like an hour of not telling him he was on screen and just like petting a random cat. He'd be like,
oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rumboyz Fantasy Network, the rawest sports show on the internet. Point blank period. Make sure you guys sign up for rumboyz.com if you have not already. As always, our special guest, who you guys have gotten pretty familiar with after 7 weeks of doing this, and 2, him just being left in the street by himself due to a computer overheating.
Hey, you know what?
Raj Grobes, ladies and gentlemen, from ESPN Los Angeles.
Yeah, too much Bang Brothers on your computer, I think. Something like that, man. Shut it down. Use your phone, bro. Use your phone.
Oh,
overheating.
Always use the phone and you go incognito mode.
Overheating.
Yeah.
Y'all know how we do. Cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
All the Rumboyz and girls want to do. Dilly dilly.
That was the best early show I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. I did not have a I'll admit this. I did not have a preset, beer. So maybe I was
that's the problem.
I was out of my element. What had happened was, let's get into some picks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk some football. All righty. So first game that we have to talk about, of course, is Thursday night football, which you guys will be checking out tonight with us. The Rumboyz will be calling the game. What are we thinking here, gentlemen? Raj, up first.
Yeah, this is the Broncos are an interesting team. As you know, you guys had some heartbreak. I know you got one done last week. You got the W and the shutout against Tennessee. Do you know the only team in the NFL with 2 running backs with 400-plus scrimmage yards? That's right, the Broncos with Lindsey and Freeman to get it done there. Listen, the game, the only way I think they have a chance is to run the ball against KC. Not only, keep themselves out there in scoring position, but you got to keep that offense off the field, which has struggled of late. I get that. But it's an intriguing game, divisional game. I think last year both games were somewhat close, but I looked it up. Chiefs have won the last 7. Even though it's been close, Chiefs have dominated the Broncos. They won the last 7 games. So Andy Reid, since he's been there, man, has just really had the Broncos number.
Wow.
I didn't realize that until this morning, but you can't help but see the struggles of the Chiefs. We talked about it before in this show here with the Rumboyz. I'm just always noticing the lack of run game. I mean, that was a threat too, not just throwing on the ball. So you had to respect their run game. Now when they run, okay, it's a respectable 3 or 4 yards. They used to gash you with the run. Then you come up with them linebackers a little bit. Then they got those dudes running off forwards, and you had Kelsey. So that's the one thing I've noticed on their offense, what seems to grow. Now, some would argue the health of Mahomes. Maybe that's it, but that's, we have to take his word for it, whether he's hurt or not. He says he's fine, but I've noticed some of his mobility has been lacking. But can the Broncos keep it first? I think it's a game they can cover. I want to pick an upset, like one of those things we have these games where it just tickles you. Oh, come on, go with the upset, go with the upset. I want to do it. Their defense, being the Broncos, has been good. KC's hasn't been good. I just can't. I think it's going to be a close game. I think KC fixes the offense a little bit. Well, if you can't run, you can't run. So I don't know if it's a quick fix, but I'll go ahead and take KC in another close game, just like you guys had them close last year a couple times. But I just think Andy Reid continues his streak against the Broncos, unfortunately.
I mean, it's hard. KC obviously coming off a couple losses that really nobody thought they would be having, and again, the Broncos defense, they finally has been enough milk cartons that we've managed to find a couple of these guys that we've been looking for.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree. If anything, this is going to be one of those times where Andy Reid slaps everybody in the mouth, or dangles some steak in front of him, knowing Andy Reid, whatever he's got to do. And I think this is an easy bounce back game for the Chiefs. Broncos defense has looked better. That is definitely not something to look over. But I think if there is going to be any difference in this, it's going to be the Broncos offense not being able to put up as much against a shaky Chiefs defense as what the Chiefs defense or offense can do. Tyreek Hill coming back, he's already proved that he is back and he is ready to play, make his plays. I mean, he's jumping over defenders. It doesn't matter. I think he's going to be the game changer here. And an offense that we saw, like Raj just said, kind of deteriorating a little bit. It is the Chiefs, so them deteriorating is still like 300-400 yards a game, which I get. But I think Tyreek coming back just helps them have to back those safeties up, does maybe open up the run game a little bit more. And then we'll see. But I think this is an easy game for the Chiefs to come into Denver and bounce back and stop this losing streak that no one thought they'd go on.
Yeah. Sorry, Denver. I'm so tempted to want to pick you, but I can't bring myself to do it. Not against the Chiefs. Not with like everything that you mentioned. Andy Reid has always had the organization's number in the Denver Broncos, so on and so forth. So it is what it is. Start Tyreek Hill.
Oh yeah. Was there a question?
Yeah, absolutely no question there. Phillip Lindsay, you're obviously going to rock with Phillip Lindsay.
Either running backs right now.
Yeah. Cortland Sutton is absolutely a monster this year in terms of fantasy purposes. So go ahead and if you have shares of Cortland Sutton, maybe you go ahead and you plug them in at a flex play. But I mean, aside from that and outside of that, I think the Chiefs are going to just walk all over them.
Ooh, you got them
walking all over them.
I don't think
So you got them covering the points too, huh?
Oh, it's Denver's going to be nowhere near close. Let's see. Wow. What's the spread really quick?
It's only 3 points right now.
It's a 3-point spread? No. Let's go 14.
All right. Fair enough.
Football. Something's going to happen. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if Riveron is out there reffing, then let's just let that be what it is. We already know my feelings around him. Next game that we got up, Raiders and Packers.
Ooh.
Now, the Packers defense is nice. I'm going to just go ahead and just let it be. My question really is with that backfield. 11 carries last game for Aaron Jones. It was 14 for Jamal Williams. Who do you trust? Who do you start? I'm still going to say that you're rocking with Aaron Jones in this scenario. I'm going to say that the Packers are going to win this one. They are going to run the damn ball, in the words of what you always say. I think that they are. I think they are absolutely positively going to. The only person I'm looking at on the side of the Raiders is Darren Waller, and that's the only person I'm caring about. Aside from that, and Josh Jacobs. Aside from that, the Packers, I got this. They're going to win. I got them winning by 4. Got them winning by 4. I see a safety happening. I predict something odd happening like that.
Okay.
A missed field goal maybe by like Crosby or something, gives the Raiders a little bit of hope. And then, that's what makes it, like a 4-point game. Maybe someone has to go for 2. That's what I'm seeing this one. I'm seeing this one an odd scoring type of game.
Okay. Yeah, I like a little twist at the end there.
Yeah, thanks.
My thing with the Packers defense is we all know they've looked good this year, but let's not forget that Matt Stafford made them look mediocre and like a high school football team in the first half of the game last week. I mean, he was throwing deep like it was nothing. Dudes were open. He was finding them. Yes, they did check themselves. They did lock it down the second half and obviously come out with the W. In regards to the Raiders, I still haven't seen anything where I've been extremely excited about them. Yeah, Josh Jacobs comes in. I mean, he's going to have a bright future there. He's going to have a bright future in the NFL. Derek Carr really hasn't looked terrible this year, honestly. I've been okay with the way he's played. But I think knowing the Packers, knowing Aaron Rodgers, having the type of week they had where they barely squeak by a division opponent in the Lions, I don't think they're going to look for that again. I think they're going to be at practice hard, know what they got going on. And sadly, I do have another not easy. I mean, I'm looking at like a 10-point game max. I think it could be even closer than that. But I can see the Packers going ahead and pulling this thing off regardless here. I just haven't seen enough out of the Raiders, offense or defensively necessarily, to tell me that they're going to stop this Packers team. So,
now, point spread wise, it opened at 6.5 and it dropped down. Actually, people betting so much Raiders to 4.5 points. So you guys, Rob was right in there on the point spread. Now, as good as Rob, you say their defense is, Raiders yardage wise has been better. Scoring wise, the Packers they give up less than 20 points. That's where they get you. You know, they can give up the yards, but they clamp down in that red zone. Aaron Jones, I agree, fantasy purposes. I got him in the league. I'm going right back with him. He dropped that touchdown pass. He had a fumble. It was just a bad game for him. And so I think Coach LaFleur knew, hey, this just ain't his day. So therefore, I think Jamal got some more run. Jamal Williams than he normally would. But I'm stick with Aaron Rodgers. I'm concerned Devontae Adams, turf toe, no joke, didn't practice. I don't anticipate him back. We're going to see the Allen Lazard show. Is that his name? We might see him again out there. These receivers, this receiving core is banged up for the Packers. But like you were saying, Ty, I think they will run the ball more. I've got the Raiders covering this game, staying close. I worry about trap games. Monday night, big game, divisional opponent, Detroit last week, the Packers. A game they possibly could have lost if not for those questionable calls that I know some of you guys are chatting about there. Makes me sick to see stuff like that. Let these boys play football. So I worry about a letdown game. Now, Raiders, I looked up because I did the point spreads earlier with the guys, and I was like 3-2. And I was thinking to myself, like usually I know everyone's. I was like, they had a bye week. They're not 2-3. Wow, they're actually over 500. Who would have thought that at this point in time? You know, but this environment is still too tough. It's in Green Bay. But I think the Raiders can stay within 5 points, excuse me. But I got to take the Packers on there. They're just, the defense is too tough when it counts, and I think the running game will bounce back. And he hasn't needed his receivers. Aaron Rodgers just still gets it done. When in doubt, I look at quarterback, and I'll go with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Nice.
Man, Jones ruined my day. I needed 6.5 points from Aaron Jones.
Oh, he had it on that one play. He had it all on one play for you.
All on one play.
He had it on multiple plays. And honestly, I would have got it if he didn't fumble. I lost 2 points for the fumble.
Can I answer no names question there?
Yes. I was actually going to say, yeah, go ahead.
Now, I brought up Juju a lot on this show, and it went back to last year when they made Antonio Brown inactive, and Keyshawn has shared this information. That's a Trojan, but he says some guys just ain't number ones. Last year when Antonio Brown was inactive, they needed that game. Excuse me, I think it was against Cincinnati. He only had 40 yards. It's different when you got not only the number one cornerback, but when they roll coverage. Some guys will beat that. Some guys, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's about they just don't have anything on the other side. But to answer your question, no name, I ain't touching, would you trade Ridley for Juju? No, I'm not touching Juju because Ridley at least is number 2. He knows his role. He has his role. Matt Ryan is still chucking the rock. Juju's going to be playing with a third-string quarterback, maybe a second-string once it gets better. I'm keeping Ridley over Juju, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say keep Ridley. I believe I saw this morning. I was scrolling through the gram. Pro Football Focus has Ridley at like wide receiver 10 overall. I'd say. I
mean, just think like Atlanta doesn't look for Julio in the end zone. If it's not Hooper, it's Ridley.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so if it's not a run play, obviously, so
yeah,
you can put it up.
I'm staying away from that trade. Next game.
I'm so mad at Juju right now. He's just like he's one of my top 3 biggest disappointments this season.
He's not a Juju on that beat for sure. No. He's all Rams Falcons, right as we perfect way to segue into the next game. That was amazing.
Look at that.
Yeah, that was
obviously the Rams made the big deal getting Ramsey. I had a Les Need on today. We had him on the show. says they may or may not be done. My concern with the Rams, I don't know if you guys remember DeMarco Farr. He was part of the Greatest Show on Turf, defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
He does the Rams pre and post. He showed me a video. He gets the all 22. If the listeners aren't familiar with all 22 film, it's an overhead, different angles of just all the players. It's not following the ball like on TV. There was a play where Bosa and the other end, I forget his name, they went against the Rams tackles, pushed them back to where the Rams tackles back touch in the backfield. Like they bull rushed both of them. That is a huge disadvantage for the Rams. So everyone looks at, okay, what's wrong with Gurley? Same here. What's wrong with Goff? Well, if you watch their offensive line, they get manhandled. So this game, having said that, they need this game. The Falcons have won the past 4, including the playoffs, remember 2016, 42-14. But all those numbers aside, Matt Ryan still is having a decent season, actually, still numbers-wise. All that aside, I just think Dan Quinn might be, we've said this for the last couple of weeks, this might be his last game, coach watch. And I think in that locker room, it's just a bad situation in that Falcons locker room. Now, we did ask Les Snead, the GM of the Rams today, if Jalen would play. And he brought up a good point. Just played in London, East Coast, came out here to introduction for the Rams, then going back to the East Coast again, or, London's beyond the East Coast. It's a lot of travel. So anyway, all that BS aside, he's playing. He's going to guard Julio. Now, the Rams play, they don't shadow, actually. They have Peters and Talib, who obviously both won't be there this week. They just haven't stayed left and right. But I think the easiest thing to do is just have, instead of assignments and learning this and that, is just have Jalen Ramsey, hey, just stay with Julio wherever he goes, line up, defense adjust. It was ugly last week, of course, losing 20-7. They got manhandled by a hungrier, younger team. I don't think you're seeing the same thing with the Falcons. It's on the road. Rams favored by 3.5. Not saying they will cover, but I think they'll bounce back and win this game. And the weirdest thing happened. I don't know if you guys, Malcolm Brown, that first drive, they ran it 9 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards. They ran it down their throats, ran it in with a touchdown from Woods, and then they just abandoned the run. It was crazy. Henderson got some touch. The rookie Henderson in fantasy league, stash this dude if you can. If you watch him run, he's got some electricity in those toes. Now, our guy Gurley did practice, so if he practiced today, I expect him to play. Agree with you, Brad. Atlanta's horrible. I think they've given up on the season. Not given up, but something's wrong in that locker room. Now, it's not a Dolphins give up, but something's wrong in the locker room. I think the Rams will win.
Not a Dolphins give up.
I am. Wow, I gotta agree. Especially with what Bradford said there. Bradford, if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. For the win, I am taking Mr. Siakam. Okay, I'm taking Jared Goff. All right. I'm rolling with the Rams. I did it right when it was on the TV too. The background does.
You looked up and he was doing it.
I couldn't get it. I couldn't plan that.
At first, I was like, I got it. It took me a minute, but okay, I got it.
Yeah. So I'm rolling with the Rams. If you're the Rams, you're obviously starting Jalen Ramsey out there on defense. Like I said, or like you had mentioned, Raj. I apologize. Wow, my bad.
Jalen Ramsey.
You have Jalen Ramsey go out there, follow Atlanta's best receivers. You're gonna have him just trail and follow the best guys. With that also being said, Atlanta can probably keep this one close. I see Atlanta kind of doing a shootout style type of situation, like they did almost against Arizona.
Yeah, they'll score some points.
Yeah, they're definitely going to put up points. It's going to be a back and forth, but at the end of the day, McVay at this given moment, nothing against Quinn, but at this very given moment, McVay is a better coach. It is what it is. He's going to have so many different schemes, so many different looks that he's going to throw at them. There's not going to be much they can do. Cooper Kupp is absolutely amazing right now. Like he's overall wide receiver 3 in fantasy football. Yeah, he's wide receiver 3. For those reasons, obviously, I'm rocking with the Rams. I feel like there's not even any more to say.
For me, the big reason this game is going to go in the favor of I'm also taking the Rams is Atlanta's defense is giving up a lot of passing yards a game. That is kind of their weakness. And clearly we just said, like, I don't care if you're going to run the ball 9 yards, 8 yards, 7 yards, even averaging over 5 yards a carry. The Rams are looking to throw. And in this type of scenario, when they can get away with throwing almost the whole game against Atlanta's defense, it's going to work out for them. I just had here Atlanta's given up like 270 yards. That's almost top 5 in passing yards a game. And you know the Rams, those receivers, I mean, they can put up more than that 270 combined. So if Atlanta was strong against the pass and gave up the run, you know, maybe we could question it because we don't see a lot of runs out of McVay and the Rams, but they can get away with having a mistake like that where they run the ball a couple times and give up on it and go to throwing, and they can get away with it because Atlanta's defense is not good against the pass. And again, I'm just not sure how I feel about Atlanta's offense. Yeah, they can put up points. Yeah, they, you know, will at least get you some fantasy points, but it's just never enough in crunch time, or their defense gives it up if their offense keeps them in the game. So
they got abused by a quarterback. I get that he's number 1 overall pick, that Gridiron Heights makes a baby voice out of him.
He's better, man. He has looked a lot better. He's catching up to speed with it, and you can tell that he's more comfortable getting out of the pocket and everything.
But all I could just hear, like all I could think to myself every time a Kyler Murray just dropped back and went for a pass was, sometimes a 5'10". Just lighten up the Atlanta defense.
And I know we like to put a fantasy spin on things. Start all your Rams. You want to know how bad Atlanta's defense is? They give up more yards and more points than the damn Redskins. Start all of your Rams. That's a fact. They give up 31 points a game and almost with 388 yards. I mean, that's almost, man, that is worse than the Redskins in both ways. I mean, hate to use you as a barometer, but.
And again, the struggling Rams offense can put it back together and do that. So
that's how you get better. That should get better.
We just had to find a stat somehow, some way to make it about the Skins. Who
that's a segue.
Transitions, man. Today. Let's go.
49ers versus the Redskins. Raj, you already started. Go ahead, running away at the Skins.
The Redskins with a victory, the no longer winless Washington Redskins. Listen, I got a close look at the 49ers last week. Again, you know, I was worried about trap games. They were hyped for this game against the Rams. They came and showed out. Now you travel to the nation's capital, take on Washington. So I'm a little concerned with that game in terms of, all right, you know, kind of take an exhale and let down a little bit. This spread, I believe, it got up to 17. If I get this correctly, let's see. Yeah, this one's it's only 10. Sorry, forgive me. 17. It's only 10. So it's on the road. I guess you deducted. But listen, obviously, I think Washington will win. And to me, it's a matter of if they'll cover or not. I'm not trying to throw any shade or anything, but they're still only giving up 237 yards a game on defense. Washington is. I mean, that is just stifling, and only under 13 points a game. I mean, they are stifling opponents. Just. Man, you just look at the offensive line. Sometimes I just like to watch the O-line, see who the men's are. And those are just men on both sides of that line, just manhandling, mauling people. I loved, you know, Terry McLaurin, your rookie receiver. He's the real deal. Seeing him doing this thing, like I've seen enough. I have him even starting in some. But Niners will be too much. Question is if they'll cover or not. I could see a late field goal or something silly from Washington with a cover. Like within, I stress cover people, keep it within 10. But no, I think 49ers win this game and they remain undefeated.
This isn't a hard one, yeah.
Stop having your mom text in. I saw that, Rob.
Tell that man who's away at the Redskins.
Nah, definitely not. Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm you guys have fun.
This isn't hard because I agreed. Last week I was kind of nervous. Like this could be the game where the Niners look human and don't look like this crazy Niners team that has been putting it up.
Yeah.
And they switched it. They were Superman out there. I mean, Jimmy G looked good. The run game looked good. I mean, the defense looked good. It looked good all around. It really did. And again, I get that this is more of a trap game. I mean, if there's a game they're going to lose, for Robbie's sake, it'll be against the dang Redskins. But I mean, I'm going with the Niners. If I'm putting my own money on the line, I'm obviously going with the Niners. I think they've had a great season. I don't think it stops. Bosa and Thomas on both ends for the Niners have been unreal. Just getting to people, at least touching the quarterback on every play. Whether or not it's a sack, they're getting to quarterbacks. They're shaking them up, and it is what it is. So I can't see the Redskins pulling out any miracles here, but I think they'll put up some points. I mean, I can see it being by about 10. Maybe max I'm going with 14, 2 touchdowns. So,
Okay.
But I don't see it as a blowout, but go ahead. Tell us why they're going to lose this week.
Yeah, they're pounding his chest. He got a victory night. Like, okay, y'all talking crazy. Okay.
I mean, it's all good. I mean, we beat the Dolphins, who have been outscored by 138 points.
And you let them score for the first time in the second half, their first cover of the year. So should that even be a W? I think they should put an asterisk by your win. That should be an asterisk.
A win's a win. A win is a win.
And I got all this ish for the Bears beating the Broncos by a second. A win is a win. See?
All right, let me hear you spin this.
So first, Adrian Peterson is back. I said last week that he's gonna be back just because Callahan loves running backs. I could only imagine what he would do with that backfield if one Geis wasn't injury prone and softer than wet tissue paper. I'm sorry. He's got to get it. He's got to figure out the body. He's got to figure out the body, honestly. But Adrian Peterson is back. I'm saying that you could go ahead, and you could flex him. He would be a good flex play for you, as well as on the other side of the ball, on the other side of things, Tevin Coleman as well. So both running backs in this game must starts, or not must starts, but you could start, of course, depending on how you're looking at your flex positions and so on and so forth. I think that we can make this one close. The 49ers are going to win, but if we can figure out a way to pull it out for those that want to go out there, put the money on the underdog, to maybe, get a little bit of a sweeter pot in return, we pull it off by 3.
Okay.
For the Redskins.
Hey, money lines, there's been crazier things that have happened. Like I said, trap game at home. It's a money line. I hear you.
I mean, look, you guys lost to the Jets.
Well, that was it. We were missing both of our tackles, like I was saying. Missing receivers. And we're average. We have an average quarterback and a below average coach.
Now, how would I sound if every time that I could easily be like, well, it was all Jay Gruden,
Well, you did that for weeks.
We had 17 people injured.
We'll get to those Cowboys later.
Colts.
Get out of the
Texans, Colts. Let's see here. Who are we rocking with, fellas? Raj, go ahead and kick this one off for us, brother.
Yeah, AFC South battle, man. I had to look it up, but Colts won 3 out of the last 4. I thought they played them pretty well. But the question is, has Deshaun taken it to a different, another level? Same offensive line. Tunsil's finally had a good game that last game. He dominated his opponent, but he's giving Deshaun some credit. He's actually had a clean pocket last couple games, which is oddly enough. So Clark, yeah, he dominated on KC. Dominated Clark. Tunsil did. But I'm looking at Deshaun and watching a maturation of a quarterback here, and I'm seeing him take this team, despite what's around him, who's healthy, who's not. Despite DeAndre Hopkins, I'm sorry, but I'm putting him on a milk carton. I don't need 55 yards catching. You know what I'm saying? Dude, when's the last? I'm keep waiting for him to bust out. I'm waiting. I think he had 1 or 2, maybe 2 good games this year and a couple yardage games, but I need touchdowns, bro. Where you at? Marlon Mack, your guy, 132 yards week 5, and you were right about that. At home, I know Houston's riding high. Man, I'm going to take the tough Colts in just a tough game at home, and it's an upset. I'll take the Colts to win this game. I just think they'll play them tough at home. They're familiar with them. They had a week to rest. In fact, look, that's not even an upset. The Colts are favored by 1. So, excuse me. So apparently Vegas sees it similar to that. Obviously, they see Houston as a better team, but given Colts 3 points, at home, I'll take the Colts on this one in a tough game, a lower scoring game. Again, Houston off of a big emotional win, and in KC. I know it's a division opponents, so they're not going to look past them, but yeah, I think the Colts can pull it off. I didn't even know the points were before that, but I think they can pull it off.
I like that. I like that.
What?
For me with this one, I think it's about the Colts run game. We know they have been one of the top teams in the NFL this year, just constantly pounding the ball. But at the same time, the Texans are very good against the run game. So for me, this one is kind of coming down to which offense can really get it going through the air. And Brissett has looked good. I mean, I can't say he hasn't already. We're talking about, I mean, T.Y. hasn't necessarily been out there, top 5 guy, but he's doing better than Hopkins right now. I mean, again, we're talking about putting Hopkins on a milk carton, and T.Y. at least is not at that level yet. But for me, I think this is about Watson and that line you just mentioned. The line has gotten better. Watson has not taken the multiple sacks, 3, 4, 5 sacks that he has the last couple of games. He's either been able to get out of pressure or the line is at least held enough for him to make throws. And I think they're going to continue to do that. They're going to look good. And I like the way Watson's been playing this year. I think he is just, like you said, figuring out how to get it done. Hopkins is not producing. Fine. I'll figure out how to get it to somebody else. Will Fuller, whatever it is. I know there's a lot of guys banged up. I think even Fuller and Hopkins were both questionable for this game. Both of them should be playing. So I just think Hopkins in that arm is going to do just a little bit better than Brissett. But I do think this comes down to being I know we're talking 1-point spread, but I think it comes down to a field goal to determine who wins this. Maybe even in overtime. I'm going with Texans.
Go with the Texans, okay. And you got to pick the Colts. All righty.
Yeah.
There's parts of both of you guys' takes that I agree with. Absolutely positively nothing that I disagree with. My biggest question in this game is on the Texas side of the ball is which running back are you starting? Something tells me for this week's sake, you're rolling with Duke Johnson. I know that we spoke about we were speaking about this earlier. I'm just having one of those feelings where something is directing me to advise you guys Duke Johnson this week. If you have a dual flex spot, if you have like a second flex spot.
That was that for both standard and PPR. And PPR, definitely agree. What about the standard where you don't get rewarded for the reception?
I'm thinking he's gonna get a receiving TD. So even in standard leagues, I think I see a screen pass being formulated in the game script, which is where I think that he's going to be most effective in this game. And that's why I think that you go ahead and start him. Watson's just having such an MVP season. You guys just did the amazing cover story on Nuke and his mom. Shout out to ESPN for you guys for doing that. That was a beautiful story, by the way, that your colleagues put together. Everything is going right for them. The atmosphere in Houston is well. I'm not picking against them. I am in agreement with Vegas. 1 point for sure. This is a 1-point game. Field goal. 1 second on the clock. Fairbairn, get out there, do your thing.
I like it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I saw on Twitter, someone hit me with this on Twitter. Next time you look at DeAndre Hopkins, tell me you don't see a WNBA player.
Oh my gosh!
I don't even know.
You'll never get it out of your head. Just move on to the next game, but just go ahead and look him up. Every picture look like he can ball in WNBA, like he about to take on the Mystics right now.
Oh my God. He's about to go run full court with Belladonna. Oh my gosh. Vikings versus Lions. Mike D's here. I see we got Mike D in the chat. You see our resident Vikings fan.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are anxious to see how we pick this one.
I'm anxious. This is my division. I need losses from both these teams.
Yeah, you started off.
So for me, the Lions have kind of proven themselves as that team that hangs in there. They're taking L's, but dang, do they hang in there and make some of these tough teams work for their W. I mean, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Lions are absolutely doing it. I like the way Patricia's kind of coaching on the sidelines. I think he's the kind of coach that hypes them up for the game, and everyone's like, let's go, let's go. But I feel like his halftime conversation is not as strong.
Not good adjustments.
They don't bring adjustments. They want to rock the same thing. Like, yeah, it's been working. Let's just roll with it into the second half. When in reality, Green Bay almost had this thing tied up after you started super well in the first. So really, that kind of makes me nervous. And there is a very, very hot Vikings team that is rolling right now. And their offense is kind of hitting on all cylinders. We've even seen Dalvin Cook take less carries because they've been able to throw the ball efficiently. I mean, imagine once you find a nice blend of both of those put together. I mean, the Vikings will be scary offensively. Their defense hasn't been terrible. I do think Stafford will have a good game against them, but I just think this Vikings offense is too hot right now, coming in and putting it up. I mean, I asked last week just what you guys thought if this was the end of the Kirk Cousins, slide on his face, if maybe he was going to pull himself back up and get into it. And he's done it, week in, week out now the last couple of weeks. I don't think there's any reason that he doesn't at least have a good game and, land back on his face. I hope they run the ball a little bit more against this Detroit defense, but I think it's still going to be a good game for the Vikings.
Vikings got to be careful passing in this game. There's a cornerback on that Lions defense by the name of Big Play Slay. And he don't play no games. Okay. I think that to make up for last week, the refs kind of gift this one a little bit. The Lions are going to win this one. I'm not sure if the Vikings pass on the Lions the way they did last week against let me see. The Vikings played against the Eagles, and they went and Stephon Diggs, was absolutely amazing. He went out there, he was looking like himself, but I don't know. I'm not trusting that. Or no, it was against. It was not against the Eagles. Wow.
They beat them 38-20. It
was the Eagles. Yeah. Stephon Diggs did look like himself. I just don't think that it's going to happen. I think the Lions are going to have a chip on their shoulder after the refs, kind of screwing them over on Monday night. So yeah, I'm picking the Lions because they're going to come out and play angry.
I hope so.
All right. Well, as you know, on this show, I've been my man crush, my dark horse team, whatever you say. I've been a big fan of the Vikings. Like, I just think they weren't talked about a lot in the preseason. I've been a big fan of them because of Dalvin Cook, if he can stay healthy, because of Diggs and Thielen. Diggs tore the Eagles up. Diggs, like any receiver, by the way, fantasy-wise, we'd like to get that advice going against the Eagles. He hit them for 7 and 167. Eagles secondary is horrible. I know we're not talking about the Eagles right now, but and speaking of Big Slay, Darius Slay, since 2013, 94 passes defense, like the most in the NFL at that time. He's got 2 picks off of the Vikings the last few years, 5. I like him a lot. But I think Danielle Hunter leading the Vikings in sacks with 6. I just don't think Lions have enough for that. That defense, they're giving up 15 points a game, the Vikings are. I know they're going into Detroit, but they're familiar being there, going there. They've won the past 3 overall, the Vikings have. I think they win this game. You're right. The Lions are darlings. Like, they will keep a game close. Like, you watch a Lions game, you'll see it come down to the fourth quarter. I know what you're saying. They're going to play angry, but in the end, I think skill wins, skill positions win. And I like Thielen and Diggs and Cook over Kerryon Johnson, Galladay, and Jones. I know it doesn't come down to skill positions, but the defense on the other end. Give me the Minnesota Vikings in this game and give me the cover. I think they're favored by like 2.5 on the road, something like that. But I'll take the Vikings to win this one.
Okay.
Again, it's scary that Thielen and Diggs are getting it. Like you said, Slay can shut one of these 2 down, but all we need is one of these other 2 to show up and have a game like they've had in the last 2 weeks. So this is going to be a good game. Division games are always
like it.
Keep rolling.
Jaguars, Bengals. Before rolling into this one and everyone dropping their takes, I would like to make sure that everyone out there knows there is no more Jalen Ramsey on this Jags defense. And the last 2 to 3 weeks that Auden Tate has begun starting at wide receiver, he has now worked his way to be wide receiver 40 in standard leagues. And I believe he's like wide receiver like 38 in PPR. Go get you some Auden Tate because he's going to keep climbing those wide receiver ranks, those fantasy rankings. If you do not have this kid, go get him. I can almost guarantee you that he is available in your league.
Probably.
Before I'll actually segue into my pick. After dropping this, I just want to make sure that I accurately put this out. Auden Tate is rostered in about. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
Who are you picking? I gotta know.
I'm sorry. He is rostered in 38.4% of leagues.
I think
You're right there.
Go ahead and go and get him. Now, I am not rolling with the Bengals because Minshew Mania still exists. I am going to pick the Jaguars. I am going to pick them by 7. I'm going to pick them by a touchdown. It is what it is. But I just wanted to make sure I put it out there because too many times people, they fear going to get players for their fantasy teams because they're on bad teams.
Yeah, that's me.
When garbage stats count too. Garbage stats count.
Exactly. When in reality, that may be a guy that could be helping you win, especially if you're 0-6 in a league somewhere.
Oh, no. Who are you talking about? No. Oh, man, you need to go ahead and get your logo. Like, make it the Dolphin logo.
Breeze went down. Barkley went down.
Everybody has injuries.
All right.
I want to hear that.
When Robbie Anderson's my number 1, I don't know what to do.
You drafted him.
Yep. With that, it's your pick. You go.
Thank you for that.
Oh man, next time I got to open it in the league, well, I'm calling you.
Thank you for segueing into my perfectly great, terrible season. And
I didn't mean to put your personal life out there.
It's fantastic. I cry every night about it. Thank you, though. Like I needed that.
Who are you picking?
This one for me.
You pick better than your fantasy players. Go ahead, man.
I do. Yeah. I'm done with fantasy. I say that like every year. For this one, the big thing is I'm going with the Jags because, I don't think I've picked the Bengals once this year for pretty obvious reasons, but the Bengals are giving up like too many rushing yards a game. I just had here. I'm almost positive it's like 180, which is honestly like terrible. Like that hurts me to tell you guys that they're giving up 180 yards a game. I get that the Jags are kind of on this Minshew Mania little kick, and they like to throw the ball. They got Shark going on. They like to do that, but let's not forget that Leonard Fournette has looked good this year. He's been healthy. He's played in games. I think this is a game that they have no problem giving him the ball 25, 30 times if they have to. Just let the man run the rock. And we know Fournette can have big games. So against the defense that's giving up 180 rushing yards a game, why could Fournette not run these guys over? So I'm looking for that. I think it's going to be a big game for him, and Jags can easily win this one.
Yeah, I got him starting in my DFS. Not only you mentioned their run defense, that comboed with a team that cannot run the ball, being Cincinnati. So they have problems with the run on both sides of the ball. It's funny. Remember week 1, I believe they played up in Seattle in the 12th man, and they kept that close, damn near won the game, I believe.
Yeah.
Covered the point spread. I was like, Cincinnati might be for real. I went and picked them week 2 against, I don't think I picked them to win, but at least to cover, maybe to win against San Francisco, and they got boat race just blowing out the building. It's like, oh, wow. But in watching their games, because I have Mixon on one of my fantasy leagues. I'm not 0-6 or anything, but we 4-2. We got other players. But I keep starting this dude, and I'm done. I'm looking. He's running into a wall every single play. Their offensive line, other than Cleveland's, might be the worst I've seen. So the AFC North has two offensive lines that are just atrocious. In that, I completely agree with you, Ty. Leonard Fournette is going to run. Minshew, he don't need to even throw for 200 yards. I think he threw for 163 last week. That's fine. He could do that. I think they would win that game. They played New Orleans really tough. They were just one big play away, Jaguars, from winning that game in New Orleans. I think they win this game. I don't think it'll be that close. I think Cincinnati is that bad.
Yeah. Another thing, too, with Joe Mixon, by the way, he has the ugliest tape this year. Like, he has the ugliest tape this year. I have never looked at a running back this year and just been like, oh my gosh, this dude is just he can't find daylight whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's not all his fault. I mean, he has nowhere to run the ball.
Yeah, there's not a hole to run through to get anywhere. Yeah, he's a great back once he gets into that secondary and can get on a linebacker. I mean, he's phenomenal with that, but he can't get through the defensive line.
His tape is ugly. To just second what you stated, Raj. His tape is ugly because that offensive line is ugly.
And another thing, little note on a slight little fantasy thing. AJ Green's been practicing somewhat limited this week. No go for this week, so they're going to hold him back. They want him close to 100%. And still, I wonder if he'll be on the team. Like, what's the point of having him? But he's not going to play this week. So hopefully next week, if like I have him stashed in one league, so hopefully to get him out there, then you see what Austin Tate or what he does. Auden Tate, excuse me, against when you have AJ out, obviously attention's going to go to him. That'll free up Boyd and Tate. But like I said, I'm excited to see what Tate can do as being the secondary or even third receiver.
Yeah, I like it. Cardinals, Giants. I'm Kyler Murray. Rookie versus rookie. Two guys that we interviewed. K1, Danny Dimes. Raj, we'll let you start this one. I need some time to develop how I want to pick this.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is pretty intriguing. Murray, so 27 of 37 passes last week, 340 yards. He's getting a little better and better. What Kingsbury's done, I looked at some stuff. They used to run a 10 offense, 10 personnel, which is 4 wide receivers. I know you guys know, but for those that don't, they've been actually using 1 and 2 tight ends more and more. I think he really got it. Kingsbury realized, like, hey, Kingsbury, this ain't college. I can't just be out here with no, ends and get my dude killed back here, or it's just hard to run that in the NFL. So I know he was stubborn at first, saying he wasn't going to do it. He has been using more 11 personnel and even double tight end. David Johnson, I know he's not practicing again, but, he's still putting up numbers when it counts at over 100 scrimmage yards and 2 TDs last week. But let's face it, the Giants get healthy again. Danny Dimes, you got Barkley coming back. You got Ingram coming back. Shepard's completely healthy. I'm not confident either way on this game. It's an even. Vegas saw it as even and gave the Giants a 3-point favorite because they're at home. Home field gets to 3. I like both quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks. I guess I like Murray because he has more detractors more, but even though no one wanted to see Jones get picked that high, I'll be thinking of the Kyler Murray voice when he talks, thanks to you. But given a full bill of health, I think Barkley's fresher, healthier. I'll take the Giants in a really close game that probably comes down to the last possession. I can see the Cardinals scrambling back to make this really close. But I'll take Danny Dimes at home in the Giants, but I'm not terribly comfortable with it. But I think they're healthy and they're at home, and let's see what they can do at home.
I like it. I'm just happy that I did not watch that clip before interviewing the rookies, because then I would have not
Hi, Mary, welcome to the Rumboyz. Walked off, it'd have been the end of it. We could have got views for that, though. You could have rocked by Kyler Murray. That could have been great.
Oh my gosh,
that could have been great. Go ahead.
I'm gonna roll with the Cardinals. I feel like both these teams. So first, with both these teams, they have fantasy personnel throughout this. I think that this is going to be one of those games that's going to be a lot better than what we realize. This could easily be a 60, 68 point total game between the two teams. If you have Kyler Murray, start him. You're not starting Daniel Jones. Don't do it. But I like Golden Tate. For the Giants. I like Darius Slayton for the Giants. Saquon is going to be back. As long as Saquon is back, oh yes, you are starting Barkley, especially because you've probably been sitting back holding on to him forever. On the Cardinals side of the ball, David Johnson is also a go. We're waiting to hear word on Christian Kirk. As soon as we know something, we'll let everybody know. I'll probably let you guys know right before Sunday kickoff on our fantasy show. Larry Fitz, obviously a guy that you can start. All in all, I'm rolling with the Cardinals, though. They just have more weapons, more stability. I feel like Kyler is just significantly better than Danny Dimes. In that respect, last time we saw Jones, I get that he was up against a very tough New England Patriots defense. They are the second defense in fantasy scoring, or they're the first defense in fantasy scoring, but second overall in fantasy points.
They're beating out receivers.
Yeah, they're beating out full receivers and running backs. So with that being said, last time we saw him, he threw 3 interceptions. I'm not starting a guy with 3 picks. I'm not picking a team that threw 3 picks. Let's go Cards. Red Sea.
Bro, Jimmy G throws 5 in practice. Man's 5. He hasn't lost.
He had to shake off the curse,
I'm just saying. We're going to leave that one alone.
Right, yeah.
Especially after the great start we had with Raj in that joke. So this game, I mean, Raj pretty much hit everything I had on that one. I think my biggest reason I'm going with the Giants is going to be Saquon coming back. So just looking at some, again, just stats that hurt my brain to think about. These are both of these two teams are 2 of the 3 worst teams in passing yards given up. The only team that's worse giving up passing yards per game is the Buccaneers this year. Wow. So I think both of these teams have tremendous days through the air. This is the perfect game for both these rookies to be playing, to look good against these defenses. And I think it's going to be a great game. You know, I would love to pick Kyler. I would love to stay on the Kyler train. They have been putting W's together. They have been running it and doing well. But I just think this Giants team that Danny hasn't had Saquon yet. He hasn't had him. And he's been playing well. He's been putting up yards. I mean, he's pulled a couple W's. I think Saquon coming back is going to be the reason that they get it done. They're going to have a run game because Saquon, you know, people like that. When you don't play for a while, you want to be on the field. You want to be there. You want to hit somebody. You want to run somebody over. Saquon's trying to hurdle somebody. Like, it's how he is. So I think both teams will have great passing games, but I think Saquon will outdo the run game of the Cardinals and the offense of the Cardinals, and that will be the reason it gets pushed over. But I agree, this could be a 30-point per team type of game. Yeah. So I think it's going to be really good.
Dolphins, Bills.
Dolphins all day.
Let's go finish. It's like, no, I'm kidding.
Quick heads up. So the Dolphins are giving up 36 points a game. How many points a game do you think they're scoring, the Dolphins?
The most they've ever scored was 16 against us.
I'm going to go with 6 average.
They're outscored 8 points to opponents.
What's that?
138 points. They're outscored to opponents.
What are they average per game? What do you think the Dolphins offense puts up? I say 6.
Yeah, 6.
Well, I guess it's 8.4. So I was just shocked by that because I look at some of these stats and even bad teams score 10 points. So they're putting up 8.4 points a game. I think this is the 17-point game I was talking about. Bills are favored by 17. So obviously we're talking about do they cover or not. I'm starting Josh Allen in DFS. I like what he's about to do to these poor dudes. Fitzpatrick starting over Rosen. Doesn't matter. I wouldn't touch anyone on the I got burned by Preston Wilson in DFS last week. Won't do that again. But yeah, I think this. I even take the Bills to cover. I just think they're smashing people. They're giving up less than 300 yards. Very rare in today's NFL. They're only giving up 275 yards a Bill. I just can't see. Again, I just don't see. They're not going to look past them because it's a divisional opponent. They're at home. They had a bye week, so they'll be coming out and just trying to smash somebody. I don't know if the weather's going to be getting a little colder out there. Probably. I just see the Bills smashing these guys. I don't know. It's probably not even a game I'll turn on because I have Josh Allen when they have the ball, but it's not a game I'm even going to try to even bother watching.
I feel that. Yeah, I don't think that aside from them, like, let's take 0-5 completely out of it. Dolphins can't handle cold weather. All right. Okay. It's just not going to happen. It is starting to get a little bit colder up there. The weather is starting to change up there, up in the Northeast. Shout out to all my family up there, Queens and everybody up there in New York. My grandma. But no, I gotta go with the New York team. I gotta go with the Kings of New York right now because they are the Kings of New York.
True.
And I'm picking the Bills. I try to see if I could see a weather report to try and validate how you're stating about the weather.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one here. All in all, it like you said, it's a divisional opponent. The Bills are just they're so laser focused. What has happened with the Bills is that they're doing better than probably even they expected. So they're so laser focused right now that they're grasping onto any and every win that they can get. Even at 4-1, they're cherishing this moment right now as an organization. Because of that energy and because of that vibe, that's contagious. That's something that's going to spread throughout that whole organization, throughout that locker room. So because of that, not only I think they could even do better than 17. I think they could do this by 21. They could 21 skunk this game.
Okay.
And they're going to use it, even though it's against the Dolphins. They're going to use it as a statement. They're going to use it as a statement, like, no, like we're legitimate. We're now going to be a 5-1 team. We're legitimately here. Oh, and start Cole Beasley, Frank Gore, Singletary, all the Bills. You can start the whole Bills roster.
You're playing the Dolphins. If you got it, play it. Play it. So I actually did get a weather report. It's not going to be as bad as we thought. I mean, I'm sure Miami is used to like 80 and 90, but it will be about 64 degrees.
Okay.
Partly sunny. So again, that's not terrible. I mean, that's not where I was thinking like it'd be like 40 degrees and they'd all be in trouble. But I think the Dolphins are still looking for an identity offensively. I mean, you're rotating quarterbacks that says nothing good about you. Tennessee's the same way right now, but that doesn't say anything good about having faith in a guy. And I'm not sure how much Fitz magic is really left. I don't think it's enough to beat this Bills defense because the Bills defense has been fantastic this year. They really have. They're a defense that, has quietly been one of the best defenses the last couple of years, and they continue to do that. So this isn't hard to pick. I mean, again, I just hope there's one time where one of us actually picked the Dolphins with all true heart this year. I just hope. I hope. I really do. And it's not against a 4-1 Bills team, especially when, again, for all we know, Rosen could play quarterback by the end of this game, even though he just got benched. So
bold prediction.
I can't pick the Dolphins. I can't believe we still even talk about them and consider them in this. Like, are they XFL yet, or like can we?
That's what should happen. That's what should happen. Like, whoever wins the XFL Super Bowl or whatever they're going to name their XFL Bowl or whatever, whoever wins that should take the Dolphins' place. I mean, Dolphins have to go to the XFL.
Right. That's like the Premier League, which I follow closely. The bottom 4 teams get regulated, and the bottom 4 teams from a previous, which would be an XFL for you, the top 4 teams in that league get to move up each year. So it's a big deal in sponsorship and everything.
It's like the G League of football.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm with it. Wow. Chargers, Titans. I was about to say the home team first. Chargers, Titans. Who are we thinking for this one, Raj?
These are 2 teams I'm really having a difficult time figuring out. I picked the Chargers, and I did say, even though it was at home, it would be a Pittsburgh crowd. Boy, was it a Pittsburgh crowd. I don't know if you guys got to see any of that. I mean, It was all Pittsburgh. I mean, we talked about today on the show, like, Chargers, what are you going to do? I mean, like, you got no fans here. Everyone just wants to see the opposing team because they get stronger than, your fan base. But 2 teams I'm having a really difficult time. Denver Broncos, your Broncos out there went ahead and, got a quarterback benched, Mariota. So we'll see some Ryan Tannehill today. Chargers are just weird to figure out. Expected more. I didn't expect them to be 2-4. I was probably about 3-3. Remember, I said they get the slow starts in the season, so I picked a couple upsets early against them because they do get off the slow starts. But by now, they usually hit their stride, so I'm a little perplexed on this. Tennessee's defense is for real. At least the scoring department-wise. They give up some yards, but just like Green Bay, when it comes to scoring, they're only giving up 15 points a game. Chargers, even with Gordon back, it hasn't made much of a difference, it seems. You know what I mean? They're still only scoring 20 points a game. The offense just isn't clicking. Maybe Phillip is just finally getting old right before our very eyes.
Yeah.
It's kind of game, though. Sometimes you got to, okay, what are we going to – do I go Tannehill or do I go Rivers? I don't expect the Chargers win, but these are the type of games, and I keep saying these are the type of games they just mess around and win. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers, and I'm sure it's an upset. I don't know the point spread on it, but I'm sure that has to be an upset. In fact, they are okay. Tennessee's favored by 2, so it's not a huge upset. But I'm going to take the Chargers, and just when you're ready to give up on them, Anthony Lynn will pull something out, and Chargers win a game. So let's go Chargers here.
I like it.
Yeah, I feel like this Chargers team has kind of lost what they're trying to do with Gordon coming back. Honestly, like Eckler had it kind of rolling. Yeah, it was less of a run game, more of a pass out of the backfield and let Rivers kind of play his game. And I feel like they're now trying to get back to a run game with Melvin Gordon. I mean, we know how great he is. So if Melvin Gordon can get it going, that can fix these problems very easily. No. But I feel like Tennessee's defense, as good as it is, the offense cannot keep them off the field. Like, there's no type of rest available for him. Rivers is great at managing and, if not putting up a touchdown, getting all the way down the field. He can manage to move the sticks, get a couple first downs at a time, and I feel like it's going to just run the Titans defense out of energy. I don't know how I feel about Tannehill. Didn't know how I felt about Mariota, though, at the same time. So I think just with the change at the quarterback, like I said, with the Dolphins, that really makes me nervous for any team if it's not a specific injury reason why. So despite how good their defense is, I think the Chargers can put up just enough to get this thing done. For all we know, like the Chargers, every game of the Chargers is on the road. Yeah. So home or away, that doesn't matter for the Chargers. I mean, this is the same idea. There's probably more Chargers fans because, I mean, we did see that video of the Pittsburgh fans traveling, and I mean, they should have just put up a banner of Heinz Field over the top of it. It just should have happened, honestly. There were more terrible towels than Rivers jerseys. Like counting Rivers.
But let's also like think of like the cultural influence within like LA, like the Steelers, that's Snoop's team, and Snoop's like a staple. So I mean, like that's what I saw. Like when I was like, of course they're all Steelers fans. Like it's LA,
I don't think that's the reason. I think Steelers fans know there's no fans for the Chargers. Let's get this together. These tickets are probably cheap. Like, let's go.
Let me tell you right now, I live here in LA. I'm sure the Steelers travel well. They're one of the best traveling teams. Packers, Cowboys, Steelers, like those are the 3 best traveling teams that I've seen in my lifetime. Living out here, growing up here, going to the sports bars, I know more Steeler fans than I do Charger fans, and I'm out here. Because you grew up watching the Steelers. Like if you're my age, you remember the late, the Steel Curtain a little bit as a really small child. And they were on the video, like this little video game, like you just know that Steeler brand. So I can tell you right now, not even traveling wise, there are more Steeler fans in Los Angeles than there are Chargers. So most of those people didn't have to travel. That's what I can tell you.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Regardless, you're speaking of Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers. I mean, I don't see the Titans holding it down. So.
I want to first start this off with Spanos family. You need a marketing manager. You want to learn how to get some extra fans and bring people aboard? Holla at your boy. Hit my line. Hit me up on Twitter at Rumboyz, spelled with the Z, N-E-T. I will get you guys taken care of course, for the right chick. And I still got to be able to do my podcast.
There's the one.
I am going to go ahead, though, and I'm picking the Titans. The mighty Titans are looking pretty mighty right now. I like that defense. This defense has impressed me. Vrabel is such a hands-on coach, and come from like the player standpoint, the athlete standpoint. I like when a coach is hands-on and doesn't mind getting down there in the 3-point stance and showing how to come off the block. I don't mind the coach that's like, hey, this is the way I want you to jam receivers within 5 yards, for my DBs. I like those types of guys. And when you have that, and when you're embedding that type of culture into breathing that into an organization, things can only go up from there. This receiving core for the Titans, suspect. I'll state that, because it's like you're hot and cold with A.J. Brown 1 week to the next. I've seen A.J. Brown on teams and then all of a sudden dropped in fantasy. Like
Delaney Walker, too.
Yeah, Delaney Walker.
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis is, for the most part, just cold. all
You
the
know what
time.
he is to me? He's Devontae Parker, that guy with upside. You keep thinking, okay, second-year guy. You keep thinking third-year guy. Finally, I'm just giving up on this dude. Just like Devon, like, dude, y'all just ain't gonna be nothing.
Yeah, Corey Davis, like it's something about the Titans. They need a quarterback, and they need a real quarterback that can, get these guys the ball and that can utilize them properly. Thought it was Mariota. Now that's not the case. Tannehill is going to be starting in this matchup. Even despite them having Tannehill, this is a guy that has been around the league and has been around the NFL. The Chargers defense, they're not exactly the Jack Boys of last year that they were. They have no fans. Your fans cannot be all of Phillip Rivers' kids. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. With that being said, the Titans, Spanos family, bang my line. I'll get you guys taken care of. Ravens, Seahawks. I'm serious about that. I'm serious. Ravens, Seahawks. Let's see here. First, really quick before I'm done, I think we have more fans than
the Chargers alone, man. Just
50 some odd people watch our show. Like, come on.
Let them get a new stadium. Let them get a new stadium. Let them get it figured out.
Ravens, Seahawks. Raj, take it away, brother.
Yeah, it's funny. When you think of these two teams, you think defense, right? You think teams that can smack down and keep games low scoring, and it's not the case with these two teams. Both giving up 300-some yards a game, which isn't horrible, but, I mean, both teams score around 23, 24 points against both teams. It's like basically they're outscoring people at this point. So that was just kind of weird. Lamar, I love watching. I just like watching him play. It's fun having him on fantasy. Just if he doesn't have a good game passing, he'll run. One thing I noticed last week, he going to get himself killed. He's lowering his shoulders on people. He's doing some RG3 stuff. And I was like, that's a little dangerous. Like, he's not getting out there and just sliding or going out of bounds. Like, he's trying to get extra yards. I don't need my quarterback getting extra yards from running. And it's not even first down extra yards. It's just trying to get an extra 2 yards for no reason. That can't keep, like, they got to talk to him. You got to chill that out, bro. Stall yourself out. Andrews, we finally got him reassert. He showed up again, 6 catches, 99 yards. I like that. Hollywood Brown didn't play last week. I'm not sure if he's going to play this week, but again, that's where you figure Lamar was going to run more. The difference I see in this game, numerically, these teams are about the same, except for one thing I look at as my tiebreaker is turnover ratio. Baltimore is even. Seattle's a +6, a very optimistic defense team. And as far as I'm concerned, the MVP, he's finally put himself in the upper echelon. Maybe he was always there. We're just finally giving him credit. But Russell Wilson, he has that, how can I say, he has the instincts of Aaron Rodgers when things break down and he's going to make the right play, the right move. His arm is this touch he makes throws when you watch, it's like, whoa, a guy was there, he's just a complete package. And I'm just going to go with Russell. I'm going to go with the optimistic Seattle Seahawks. So they're not covering at home like they used to. So the 12th man maybe is not as much of a factor as it used to be. I believe it's a 3.5-point game. I would take Baltimore to cover it because I do think it'll be close, but I think Seattle and Russell Wilson does what they do, pulls it out in the end. So I'll go with the Seahawks in a close game, though, entertaining game.
Oh yeah, I gotta rock with you there. Actually, before I running the tie picket, I'm gonna say the Seahawks as well. Chris Carson has been phenomenal. I absolutely enjoy having Chris Carson in my fantasy lineup. Russell Wilson's. I believe it was the final 3 minutes of his last outing. His helmet had went out. His helmet went out where, the headset, how they communicate with each other. The offensive coordinator communicating with Russell Wilson. It was out. Russell Wilson called the plays by himself. I'll reiterate again. By himself. Do you know how hard it is and how fast the NFL moves? For just a regular, for those of you that have never actually played football, just the game of football is a fast-paced game. To be calling plays with no headset, with no eyes in the sky, that is absolutely impressive. Yes, he is absolutely looking like an MVP candidate. They gave him a big contract, He's showing that he's worth every single penny. I love the chemistry that he's developing with DK. He's always had Tyler Lockett. I was worried with this team passing wise when they got rid of Doug Baldwin. I was like, what are they going to do? What is Russell going to do? Clearly, Russell knows what Russ is going to do. This man is MVP on the field and off the field. Takes the ball all of his live in Amazon stocks. Like, there's just no way I can see myself picking against the Seahawks. I'm sorry, Lamar, but learn from Russell Wilson when it comes to extending plays with your feet, so on and so forth, because he's going to show you and put on a clinic for you to during that afternoon.
Hard to argue against the Seahawks. Looking at just some of the stat lines that we got here, both of these defense are not good against the pass. They give it up. It's not a big deal. Lamar maybe a little bit more suspect passing the ball than Russell. We know Russell is one of the best passers, honestly, in the history of football. Like, his accuracy is unmatched by a lot of guys. But the Ravens have a very good upfront defense against the run. We know Seattle likes to run the ball. It is now their big thing I'm still saying after the Super Bowl with Marshawn Lynch. They just have to run the ball because they accept that fans hate them for that. So for this one, not that it's really an underdog. I really think this is going to be probably game of the week, but I'm going to go with the Ravens.
What?
I'm so glad that's what just happened out of all that. That was perfect. I'm going to go with the Ravens. It's killing me to take the upset, which I'm calling an upset because I think Seattle is fantastic. But Lamar had an amazing week last week. I mean, he did things that quarterbacks have not done in forever or even ever, a lot of guys. I think this defense is going to stop the run. That's going to be why. Seattle can't help but run the ball. They want to run the ball. They want to establish themselves by running it. And if there's a defense to stop it, it's going to be Baltimore. You let Mark.
Hey, he had some reasoning behind it. Now, you wouldn't be shocked, Rob. You'd be that shocked if Baltimore won?
I just don't. I don't see it. I see Lamar Jackson sitting back and looking at Russell Wilson like he's watching his dad.
Lamar has confidence in himself. Like,
he does.
After last week, like, if he had a bad game last week, I'd be like, all right, like, he's got to figure it out. He's going to be in awe. But, like, he did something Russell Wilson's never done.
He's going to get –
one of the tougher things to plan for is, like, let's say Seattle does shut down the pass of Baltimore. It's just hard to account for a running quarterback, not a scrambling quarterback, a running quarterback. It's just you can have whatever spy you want. That's just difficult to stop sometimes. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be shocked in it. Like I said, I think Baltimore will cover. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Russell his class will just outshine at the end. But it's going to be one of the most entertaining games of the week. That's for sure.
Russell Wilson, I need you to go out there and win just for my reaction to his take.
All right.
On the fact that I just broke a shoe rack on accident. Like, literally, I just nudged it gently with my hip, and then all of a sudden the screw came out and it just all dropped. All my shoes, Jay's are on the floor now.
I see this as the game of the week, if not the Sunday night game, which we'll get into in just a minute. I see this as the game of the week if it's not Sunday night game.
Record-wise, this will be the game of the week. It's better than Sunday night. So, yeah, I don't disagree.
Yep.
All righty. Hey, Saints, Bears, the Bears. Ty, take it away.
Yeah.
I need to know if Kamara's playing. I do. I need to know. This is a major factor. I mean, you guys know I'm picking my Bears, but, like, I need to know whether or not I have, like, a valid, like, what I got to say about this. Regardless, the Saints have been rolling. You cannot deny Teddy as at least the best replacement that could have come in. We had a question earlier on Rumboyz After Dark, and I don't see Teddy moving on to be a starting quarterback somewhere else. But, man, has he proven himself as the backup to come in and just get it done. He's been here a while. He knows the offense. If Kamara plays, this is a rough spot for the Bears. We know what Kamara can do by himself out of the backfield, regardless of how he touches the ball. But our defense has gotten better. They've kind of woken up. And honestly, I think that without Kamara, I don't think it's a problem for the Bears to win this. Trubisky does look on track, so I think that does help us. And I think that's why we win it. Again, it's hard for me to pick without Kamara because I almost want to pick the Saints if Kamara plays because you just know how the Saints do. But, I got to rock with my Bears. Defense is going to hold them down, but I think this will be a good game as well.
There's no way in hell that I'm picking the Bears. Rolling with the Saints. Teddy Bridgewater has been a good fill-in for Drew Brees. Drew Brees getting ready. He's actually getting ready to come back. It won't be this week. Should be next week.
Perfect. Perfect.
So Drew Brees. So we have good news there on that front. But yeah, even without Kamara, this Saints team is just so well coached up that it just seems like even if they lose pieces, they're fine.
Kamara's a big piece, man.
I feel you, but Michael Thomas though is going to just continue to eat and feast against you guys. Ted Ginn Jr. always finds green pastures. I see leaves of green. Teddy Bridgewater, pass it to my dude. It is what it is. I just freestyled that. Man, I'm so good.
Impressive.
That was Wonderful World, man. Like, come on. What a wonderful world. You don't know that, man? You're so young.
We got to stop singing songs on this.
I'm going with the Saints. That's my take. Raj.
In terms of Kamara, he didn't practice yesterday. And the concerning thing for me is he says he has a shot to play on Sunday. So that's a long shot, if you ask me. So I'm going to go ahead and say he's going to be out. So Latavius Murray, speaking of waiver wires, if he's out there picking them up. You mentioned Drew Brees. In one of my leagues, I was able to swoop him up, not even put in a waiver claim for him. No one had him, so I picked him up. Someone dropped him. So if he's out there, just take a look. Sometimes you'd be surprised. Before, in one of my leagues, a redraft league last week, Hunter Henry was announced at for a specific time, 25 minutes before the game, the 10 o'clock games. I went out there, one league, the third league, I almost gave up. He was out there. Put him in. I won by the difference he provided for me. So always search waiver wires, guys. When you hear injuries or see who people may have forgotten about. Having said that, man, I'm just a believer I agree with you, Ty, that Teddy is just going to be one of the league's best backups in the league to come. I don't think he'll be a starter. However, I think he's the perfect play setter. You still got Michael Thompson, like Rob has said. You still got the defense, which giving up a lot of yards, but they're not giving up too many points. Bears coming off that Oakland upset worries me. They had they didn't get the days off. Keyshawn will tell you, if you're on a bye week, shoot, you mess around and lay an egg, you ain't getting days off. You know what I'm saying? Coach is going to put you to work, depending on the coach. Having said that, the Saints, can they survive without their quarterback, without their running back? They just seem like one of those teams that just keep surviving, just keep getting it done. But I think the environment's a bit too hostile, and I think the Bears, they'll get it done. I think coming off the loss and coming off the bye week, I think the Bears will be ready and they'll win this game. Albeit a close one, but they'll win this game, I feel. They got to score enough points. Got to score enough points. That's the scary part, though. It'd be like the Jacksonville game all over again,
I want to make sure that I just touch on something really quick because this just kind of hit me. I feel like it needs to be stated. Just a second, what Raj said. Brees he's of course because he's Drew Brees, he's not below the 60% mark, but he is 73.8% rostered, which means that we're maybe not in the leagues that Ty, myself, Raj are in because we're competing against some higher level competition in many of our leagues.
Yeah, and the one league I got him in was my local bar. You know what I mean? So right. Not the most competent, but it's a redraft league. But hey, he was out there.
Exactly. See,
if you are checking, I mean, you should probably check the waiver wire anyways.
Yeah, like if you weren't getting that pick against like competition like LZ and Keyshawn, like that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, you're right. Like your local bar league, your home league, something like that may happen. With that being said, and with that being stated, see if he's available for you. He is eyeing maybe week 8, week 9, week 9 they'll be on their bye, so it would be week 10 that you'd get to see him. I also want to state that if you are not in the playoff picture, a lot of leagues that I'm looking at, especially the highly competitive ones, you'll probably notice where a lot of you guys are middle of the pack. A lot of you are 3-3, 4-2s, so on and so forth. If you are below those types of records, the 500s, and you have Drew Brees rostered, maybe look at trying to trade him away, being that he's getting ready to come back. to one of those guys that are eyeing a playoff. Yeah, this is maybe you playing early spoiler because you're probably going to screw over the person that is eyeing that playoff opportunity. But see if you can use the bait. If you know the news, if you watch our show, you know that we're going to have you covered. I'm already telling you that he's looking at a week 8, maybe week 10 return. If this happens, use this as trade bait and start doing this right now. Don't wait until the rumors start coming out before Raj, ESPN and NFL Network and so on and so forth. All the big networks get to it. While this show here is telling you, make that move happen. I promise you're probably not going to regret it, especially because of what you can get in value just off of auctioning off the name Breeze.
Real quick, I also wanted to mention something to watch in the Bears-Saints game. Reports are coming out of Chicago. Raj had even just mentioned you put up a goose egg in a loss and then you have a bye week. Coach isn't going to let you, sit down or calm it down. He's going to get you going. Nagy had actually ended practice. Everybody had left to find out that Nagy went back to the facility and Trubisky was still there, hadn't left for hours to try and get himself back healthy and ready to play. So that's at least something I'm looking at to see how he does.
Trying to figure out why the Bears moved up to draft him ahead of the likes of Deshaun. Was that what he was doing?
I've been trying to figure that out for years.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you. I already was upset they moved one pick to go get him. Take another guy.
Oh my gosh. Monday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen. Raj's favorite team to talk about. Of course, other than the Rams that he does cover because he's Los Angeles,
Yeah.
But his team, Eagles, Cowboys. Raj, take it away.
It's funny. You go back to the game in Green Bay, which Green Bay went to Dallas, a game I attended, and of course, Devontae Adams wasn't out. My buddy, who was a Green Bay fan, and I was like, yeah, but we're missing a more important piece. You probably don't even know his name, Tyron Smith. Your left tackle's out. I didn't like that. They lost that game. Now, fast forward to last week against the Woeful Jets, both of our tackles were out. Collins, right tackle, and left tackle. And I was telling this Jets fan, one of my bartender friends, he was like, oh, we don't have a chance. I was like, dude, if you don't have any left tackles, that's trouble. Or right or left tackles, that's trouble. Having said all that, I just looked it up before getting through this game. Both tackles are back in practice. So that's Tyron Smith and Collins on the right. So Cowboys will have their left and right tackles. So that means when you have an average quarterback like Dak, he can shine a little bit. So I think, having said that, Cowboys won the last 3 games against the Eagles. I talked way back earlier. I forgot which game it was. Eagles played last week, Minnesota. And I was talking about the work Diggs did on them. People getting work on any of the Eagles cornerbacks. They are just the most gracious cornerbacks in the league. Now, problem is, Cooper, is he going to play? Gallup's, he's limping around. So I'm not sure who the Cowboys are going to have receivers-wise, but I'm way more looking forward to their tackles being back. So that's way more encouraging for me. I'll go ahead and take the Cowboys in this game. It's at home. We've beaten the Eagles the last 3. Their cornerbacks are just way too generous. And I'm sorry, when I watch them more, I watch of Wentz when the going gets tough. Now, my fam, they're not from Queens like your family is, but they're from Philly. And they say the reason they liked Foles is because when the pressure's on, Foles make decisions. He's moved to the left, moved to the right. They're not big fans of Wentz. They say all you got to do is put pressure on Wentz and he will fold. I love Miles Sanders fantasy-wise. I've been saying him for weeks. Hey, hold on. I even started him last week. Got the long pass. But Jordan Howard's doing great, but I still see Sanders taking over that feature role at some point this year. Anyway, Zeke finally had a good game. Tackles are back. Cowboys might be banged up at receiver, limping around a little bit, but I think they can win this game. And it's not a fan talking because I pick against the Cowboys quite a bit. It's just what I see. Tackles are very important. They're back. Offensive line is going to cruise. I think they win this game, the Cowboys.
Okay. I would just like to begin my take with Dak Prescott is just a polished turd.
I had him slightly above that, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, and I say this, the reason why I say this is because he was just like a completely turd when you guys didn't have, left and right tackles. And now that you will have both, if not at least one back, then you'll see the polished part of it. You know, it'll still be a turd.
What?
A turd that you're going to eventually overpay.
I completely agree with everything you're saying.
But I don't like either of these teams. I wish there's a way you could both lose.
I'm saying.
Like, but that can't be a possibility. I'm gonna roll with Alshon. There's rumor that D-Jax is supposed to be back. D-Jax loves to play against the Cowboys.
Well, that makes a huge difference. You're absolutely right. He makes a huge difference with that whole receiving core.
Yep. If D-Jax is back, what safety? What safety? There is going to be none because he's going to have 1,000,000 assignments that he's going to have to worry about. If D-Jax is back, then who? I mean, honestly, which of those receivers are you going to cover? Alshon, Deshaun, Nelson?
I'm not worried about Alshon. I think Alshon's a big body, and you know this better than I do, Ty. He's a big body who can turn around like Dez used to do at the end and make a catch, but he's not running past nobody on 3rd and 7 on a crossing route. I'm not that concerned with him.
But he's gonna be efficient enough and he's gonna be a difference maker in this game.
He's a big enough body with the wingspan to make catches. You're right, but he's not a polished receiver. But yes, D-Jax makes him better. In the fact that you have to account for D-Jax. You're right.
So I mean, with that, I'm rolling with the Eagles. Zach Ertz, go get me a touchdown this weekend, please.
Yeah, I agree with that. Speaking on the Alshon thing, I agree. I mean, even as a Bear, I was never really sold on him. You know, obviously as our number one receiver, you have to love the guy. You got to cheer and hope that he does well. But I was never really sold on him, and I didn't really ever want him to be our number one guy. You know, when he moved on, it is what it is. You know, obviously Philly has put together a good receiving core to work with him. You know, a bigger guy, go get it. D-Jax, take the top off the defense. But in regards to this game, I was actually looking at the defenses, and that's what makes me the most interested. Philly gives up the second most passing yards per game. But on the other side, they're second best against the run.
Yeah, this is true.
So obviously looking at Philly's defense, they need to blend that together a little bit. But Dallas hasn't needed Zeke to get W's. They really haven't. He hasn't been the tremendous, 120 yards a game, 2 touchdowns that honestly you thought he would be, being a number 1 or 2 pick in fantasy. So sadly, somehow I think Dak can turn it around. I think Dak can have a decent game against a defense that hasn't been good against the pass. He has had great games. Yes, he's had terrible games. But if you remember the beginning of the season, people were like, dude, pay the guy. Are you kidding me? He is worth the money. Pay the guy. Now everyone's questioning that. But I think in a divisional game, this is the game you have to step up. Without Zeke, the Cowboys can still get it done. And I think the Cowboys defense also, I mean, like Raj said, they can get to Wentz. If they can just get in his face, flush him up a little bit, let that bother him, I don't think he's going to make as good of throws down the field as he wants to. And he already takes too long, in my opinion, to throw it deep. He's not a guy that initially looks for Deshaun Jackson off the read and is like, I'm just going to throw it up Big Ben style. I feel like he goes through reads and realizes Jackson's there and then looks to throw. That's plenty of time for the Cowboys to get in his face. So in a very close divisional game, I am going to take the Cowboys here. I'm sorry.
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I can't wait to see you guys.
It's in Jerry's world.
That pick.
It's in Jerry's world too.
It's okay. I can't wait to see you guys. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on the Week 8 episode. Patriots Jets Monday Night Football, aka Monday Night Football. That should be reversed, but he's like how I did that. Like I put us first. Raj, what are you thinking here? Patriots, Jets, Jets.
I thought it was a closer series. I mean, the Patriots have won the last 7. They got the best defense in the league. They only give up 234 yards. I mean, that's some throwback stuff right there. That's back. I mean, that is incredible. Their team's giving up almost 200 yards more. Now, one thing I always ask Keyshawn loves them, loves it. I was like, who have they played? Because he uses that against San Fran. I was like, well, I can use that against the Patriots. Who the hell have they played? But even said that you got to be impressed with him. That defense is real, +9 turnover margin. So I think they'll win the game. The question is, what do you do with the point spread for me? And I think the Jets can keep it within 10. The point spread is 10. I think they can keep it within 10. It's just one of those games. Grind it out. It'll be in New York. They got some confidence with Sam Darnold back. You're going to show off your new weapon, Le'Veon Bell. See how he does against them. You got Robbie Anderson. You're going to start him, Ty? You going to start him?
I have to.
All right. Well, that's going to be a tough task. That's a tough task, which I'm sure you'll talk about later with Devin McCourty and the guys covering them. But look, do I think the Jets have a chance to win? Not really. But do I think they have a chance to cover, even a backdoor cover? Sure. So I think they can keep it within 10. That's all I really got to say about that one. The Patriots defense is young, athletic, and just scary to me.
Okay. Sam Darnold. You beat mononucleosis. Can you beat the best team in the NFL? That's the question. And you barely squeaked one out there just at the end against the Cowboys. They did beat you guys, but just badly.
Yeah, win's a win.
Yep. Do they have enough sauce though to be able to dethrone the Patriots? That I just don't. I don't believe in. Obviously, yes, you're starting, Le'Veon. Robbie Anderson is technically, honestly, a guy that you should flex, but if he's your wide receiver one, then go right the hell ahead.
The thing is, I wouldn't even flex him, and I have to put him at wide receiver one.
I know. Bad. In your defense, hold on, really quick. I know we made jokes this whole episode, guys. In Ty's defense.
We're still talking about it?
In Ty's defense, that is an 18-person league. That is a very, very, very deep league.
And you're last out of 18.
Second to last, I play the other guy that's 0-6. This is the Tank Bowl. This is the Tank Bowl.
Oh my god! All right. But I am rocking with the Jets though, nonetheless. Quincy Enunwa may be a guy that's available on waivers that you guys could go and get. Chris Herndon should be back from his hamstring pull that he dealt with last week. It was just like a little tweak. It wasn't anything serious. He should be back out there ready to go this week for Monday night. Rumday night. I want to pick the Jets. Everything in me wants to pick the Jets.
Holy shit! You just had pick the Jets in my mind there.
But I'm rocking with the Patriots. Rumboyz Northeast can enjoy the fact that I had to pick his team. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. Jets had a great game, but again, in Jets fashion, I mean, great start. You kind of slow down. You let the Cowboys pick up some speed. Yeah, they didn't get all the way back, but even if you were to start the same way as you did against the Cowboys, the Patriots are the Patriots. They will finish the comeback. They will complete the comeback. Belichick is so good at just totally knocking out one of your weapons, which means, can you imagine the Jets without Le'Veon Bell right now? I mean, there's not a whole lot going on offensively for me. Darnold looked very good, honestly, in his comeback, but I think Belichick will get him figured out. I don't think he has any problem putting the right defense together for these guys. I really don't see this even being that close of a game. I mean, when I say close game, I mean, I'm looking like a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, probably 14 is my thing. I know we said 10 is really the spread, so it's not that bad, but I think this is an easy cruise for the Patriots to just take the lead and then enjoy the rest of it.
Chat is going ham. They said, how are you hosting the league at your own?
I don't got to do that.
I mean, you're with me. I mean,
the league I host, I'm 5-1. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, Vodka Drinker said he drafted an all-injured reserve team.
Doing that, Saquon goes out. I got Hill. I couldn't.
Oh yeah, you had it. Yeah,
I couldn't do anything. Think about the team if I didn't have injuries.
Didn't you have the top draft pick too? You had the first overall. Yeah, you were first overall draft pick.
Saquon got hurt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And if you had taken Kamara, he would have gotten hurt. So
McCaffrey is the answer.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Should have went with your people.
So, listen, gentlemen, we greatly appreciate you guys for joining us today, this afternoon. This has been a rather interesting session today.
Yes, please delete the part where I was talking to myself for 5 minutes. Not sure if I was on or not.
Watch it first, but yes, I will. I will.
Yeah.
I should just edit it out, cut it out of the actual thing, and then Send it to you on Twitter.
New
I
episode.
don't want to see it.
Look, this is Raj hosting by himself, guys. We gave Raj the network for 5 minutes. But no, we greatly appreciate you guys for chilling with us, tuning in. We still made it like a normal episode, you know, with Raj, you know, being on air by himself for 5 minutes. So it's all good.
Fun.
It was a lot of fun. Other than that, make sure you guys tune in next week to Raj, us too as well. We'll be back here again making the week 8 picks. Raj, tell them what you guys got going on out there in ESPN Los Angeles.
Well, it'll be a will he or won't he. We'll wonder if Jalen Ramsey is going to suit up and try and shadow Julio Jones or play it all. I think you have to. If you made that trade, you're at 3-3. You're not at luxury. You know, now have leverage or you need to play them. And we'll talk a little bit of baseball there, but mainly the Raiders. Are they for real or not? We'll be talking about that. And so it's just going to be fun to look ahead at the NFL weekend.
Yo, slap yourself. That's a beautiful question.
Who do you think is going to win first, Raj, before we go? Tired.
That is great. Slap yourself.
0-6 bowl. If I lose this one, I'm not setting my lineup for the.
You shouldn't.
Because
the fact that he's getting Barkley back, he's playing a team just as bad as he is. I'm gonna go ahead and give Ty the edge on that because Ty hasn't given up like the Dolphins have. Ty is, he's fighting.
Ty's not trying to tank.
Yeah.
No reason. If I got a draft pick next year, I would tag.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that.
I'm pulling Dolphins.
That's why I only do keeper leagues.
Yeah. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we do appreciate you guys for joining us. It's time for us to sign out. Y'all know how we do. Cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
All the Rumboyz and girls, what it do. Dilly dilly, guys. We appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
Peace.